We are now moving into our geometry unit. First thing we're going to talk about in our geometry unit is going to be transformations. The first type of transformation we're going to be dealing with is called a translation. Now a translation really is a fancy word for simply a slide. All right, so what we're going to do basically is we're going to take whatever shape is given to us. In this case, we've got a square, and we are going to slide this figure any way that it tells us to. We could slide it to the right and then up. We could also slide it to the right and down, or we could start from here again from the original spot. We could slide to the left and up, or to the left and down as well. Okay, so all we're doing is sliding a figure. Now we talked about congruent and similar in class a little bit. All right, and with a congruent figure, we said that everything stays the same. It's the same shape, same size, all the angles and sides are the same. Okay, so here when we slide this figure, it is going to stay congruent because we are doing nothing to the figure but simply moving it. Okay, now there's a couple different ways that we can show a translation. All right, we can say one of two things. If we look at a first example here, we could say we're going to move this unit, we're going to move this square 4 units right and 2 units up. Okay, so if we take a look at this example here, if I move this whole box 4 units to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 units up, 1, 2, our transformation, or our translation in this case, is going to be in this place right here. Now if you don't have these shapes to move, which we probably won't when test or quiz comes around, what we'd want to do is we want to take each one of these points here and we want to move them singly. All right, so I'm going to take this point here and I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 2 units. Now this point, original point, was called D. This point here is going to be called D prime. Okay, so I'm going to do that for each one of these points. I'm going to move it 4 units to the right and 2 units up. That was C before, so now this becomes C prime. Again, I do that with all of these. 4 units to the right, 2 units up, and this is A prime, and then I move this one 4 units to the right and 2 units up, and then this becomes B prime. Now what you should notice then, when I box this in, it should be the exact same shape, exact same size as our original figure, because it is just a translation of slide and these two shapes are congruent. This is what's considered our pre-image, our original shape that we had, and after the transformation this one becomes then our image. And you can represent which one is your image based on seeing these little apostrophes, or what are called A prime, D prime, B prime, and C prime. This represents your image. Now we can also show 4 units to the right and 2 units up with some math notation, and it looks just like this. So what you're going to notice is, if I move it 4 units to the right, that affects what on your axis? Affects your x-axis, right? We move things to the right, so that's why we have x plus 4, because we're moving it to the right, which is a positive direction. And then 2 units up, that's y going up and down, that is our y value, right? And we are moving it up, which is a positive 2, so we can show it both ways, just like that. All right, so if we look at one more example, if we have, let's say, a triangle now, cover this up, if I have a triangle, if I call this A, B, and C, this would then be our pre-image, okay? And if we wanted to make a translation here, let's say our translation x minus 2 and y plus 3. Okay, so if we wanted to take this, now we would take each one of these points. I'll start with B, and I'm going to move it in the negative direction 2 units, 1, 2, and I'm going to move it in the positive direction for our y value, so we're moving it up, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this value here now becomes our B prime. All right, so this one here, I move it 2 units to the left and up 3 units. That becomes our A prime. And then we take this C value, we move it 2 units to the left and up 3 units, and this becomes our C prime. Now when we connect these again, we see here that it is the exact same shape and size. Therefore, yes, they are congruent, and they should be because it is just a translation. And we have what is our pre-image and our image.